Hello, everyone. My name is Naomi Casiro. For those of you who didn't see my first video, I am a physiotherapist and the founder of NeuroFit BC and NeuroFit Academy, and I created the FMF treatment paradigm for functional movement and falls training. Today, we are here to talk about getting up and down off the ground. The first step in falls training, the first step is to learn to get up and down off the ground safely. I'm going to give you 5 tips for what you can do if you've had a fall and you're trying to get up off the ground. But there's one thing that I want to say that's really important first, and that is this. Before you have a fall, every single person who is capable should be practicing getting up and down off the ground safely. We don't want you to end up on the ground with no idea how to get up, having never tried it before. I can't tell you how many people come into my clinic saying, I can't get up and down off the ground. But when we actually dive into the details, they're actually capable. They just haven't been doing it for a long time. With a little bit of training and a little bit of encouragement, they're up and down and have lots of tools in their toolbox should they end up on the floor from a fall. So you've had a fall, you're on the ground, be it outside or in your house. You've landed and you need to figure out what to do next. Step 1, take a deep breath. It's very scary to have a fall, and often people are quite embarrassed if there's others around. What happens is that people scramble, they try and get up. That often leads to another fall and could put you at worse risk of injury than the fall in the first place. I really want you to know that there is no rush. Take a breath and let's figure out together what the next steps are so that you can get up safely. Step 2, I want you to check in and see if you might be injured. Take a moment and think about whether or not you have any of the following red flags. Is there an area that's in excruciating pain? Is there an area that you can't move? And is there an area that you can't weight bear on? For example, I've fallen and my wrist is hurting. It's in excruciating pain. I can't put weight on it on the ground and it doesn't feel like I can move it. That tells us that there's a high risk of fracture and you need to call for help or get an ambulance to come and assist you. Step 3, assuming that there's no injury that looks like it's a risk of fracture, I want you to look around. I want you to check out what's available to you, and if you need help getting up, what you might be able to use. So that means taking a moment to pause and see, is there a bed or a stool or a couch or something near me that's a stable piece of equipment that I might be able to use to get up or stabilize once I'm there if I need it. Step 4, know your options. There is not only one way to get up from the ground. I'm going to demonstrate a few of them for you now. You may find that normally you like to get up a certain way, but if you've had a fall in an environment that's small or doesn't have certain equipment available to you, you want to make sure that you have options, and we want to ensure that you've practiced those options ideally ahead of time. So again, a few ways to get up and down from the ground. One great option is to lift your knees and think about shifting your bum back. The place where people most often get stuck getting up from the ground in this way is that they lean their weight forwards. Once my weight is forwards, I have no capacity to move my arms and therefore no capacity to walk them back towards my feet. So when you lift, you want to think about shifting your hips backwards to free your hands so you can come up to stand. Another option is to get to standing through what we call split kneeling. So that means putting one foot up in front of you. Any of these options can be done with a chair, with a bed, with a couch for assistance. You're going to get into split kneeling. The biggest mistake I see here is that when people bring their leg up, they bring it right in front of the other knee. This puts you in a very unstable position and makes it quite difficult to get into standing. You want space between your knee and your front foot to give you the most stable option to press off of. Then using your body or whatever other equipment you need, you're going to push into stand and get into a nice ready stance position as quickly as you can so that you don't have another fall from here. Another great option for getting up and down off the floor can be to try and boost your bum to a higher surface. So there's a few ways to do this. If you are able to get into all fours, you can come into all fours and then try and tip yourself sideways onto a higher surface so that you're seated and then can organize your way up into stand from there. Another option is to actually try and boost your bum backwards onto this object. Now, that might look like this, using your hands to push your bum up. If you have somebody there with you, they may be able to stabilize your feet, which can help. Or in some situations, that might not be possible for you, and you can try to wiggle your back up onto the surface and push yourself backwards until your hips are stable and you can push up into a seated position. Another way that people get up is often using a combination of the first two. So they'll sit in their seated position, they'll often put one hand forward, push themselves up to their knee, and then push into stand and walk their hands towards their feet as well. Any of these ways to stand up are perfectly acceptable. Again, the goal is that you've practiced more than one of them before you've had a fall so that you don't get stuck on the ground, unsure of where to go and how to get back up. Step number 5 is to remember that you've practiced this and you've got this. Hopefully you have practiced your up and down off the floor. You've practiced lots of different ways to get up into stand, and you need to remember in that moment that you can do this. Even if it's not pretty, even if it takes a lot of time, you will get up and you know how to do it. I know that having a fall can be scary, so I want you to remember these 5 steps the next time you end up on the ground. And I also want you to remember that getting up and down off the ground is an integral part of your training routine. Try and build it into your exercises so that the next time you're on the ground, you know you've got lots of options and different ways to get back up into stand so you can keep practicing some more.